Hey everybody, in this video I'm going to go through how we can create some custom reports within Google Analytics 4 for your clients that showcase and review LLM traffic. I'm going to show you how to set this up, how to future-proof it using a regular expression. I'll talk about what that is if you guys aren't familiar, as well as showcase a few caveats where you may not want to display it, but you may want to create it. Let's get started. For this, I am assuming that you have access to yours or your client's Google Analytics 4 property with historical data. We're going to need historical data for this. First thing you're going to want to do is obviously log into Google Analytics 4, navigate to your client's property. I'm hiding this particular account here from name, but you'll see it at the very top in your account. You're only seeing a certain percentage of my screen here. What you're going to want to do is the default view will be on the home view. You're going to want to click on reports, and then you're going to navigate to traffic acquisition. This is a report that showcases how people are coming to your client's website or your website in a given period of time. The default is 28 days, the last 28 days, not including the day you're looking at. So it's 28 days using yesterday's data as the last endpoint, because obviously today's still going on, data is still being collected, so it's not as accurate. What we see here in this report is what's called the default channel group. It's a default channel grouping that basically segments traffic where traffic is identifiable, and it splits them and categorizes traffic into everything from organic search, direct, paid search, paid social, depending on what kind of marketing your client or you are doing. Very easy way to see if there's any traffic from LLMs is to simply, or where traffic is coming from, to further segment and break this down is by clicking on this toggle right here and changing everything to source medium. Source medium shows you the actual source now and the medium. The number one traffic driver for this particular website is Google, but it's not Google CPC, it's not paid ads, it's Google organic. This is organic search categorization, right? There's also chatgpts. How do we create a report, and why would we create a report to showcase LLM traffic? We may want to know. With SEO best practices, and you guys working on SEO campaigns, depending on the indexing and what you're doing, especially from an on-page optimization standpoint, adding things schema, as well as how well your client is ranking, how many brand mentions your client has in searching on the internet, you will start appearing in LLMs, and your client will continue and has probably already started asking you, hey, what are we doing for AI search? What are we doing to rank on ChatGPT? I'm sure anybody watching this video has had this question, or will have this question for the first time come up probably this week. We can have data where data is available, obviously, and we can speak to that data. So we'll want to have this report just to see how we're tracking. Now, what you're going to want to do with admin access, you'll be able to, on this traffic acquisition report, click on this pencil to create a custom report. It'll customize this report, but you could save it as a brand new report, and I'll show you how to do that. This report now is fully customizable, and what we're going to want to do is I'm going to go again to source medium, and I'm just going to filter this, but I'm going to apply a filter. Applying a filter, there's a few things in this view if you've never used this view. So you have dimensions that you could filter on. So the dimensions are these, this drop down here, that's the dimension, and then the metrics are these columns. We can modify these columns. I always recommend adding bounce rate and removing data where it's not relevant, because you'll want to report on what is actually relevant for your client. This client does not have e-commerce data, so there's no total revenue and there's no revenue attribution for a conversion from fill. This is not as relevant. I try to hide data that doesn't make sense for a client, just because it'll streamline and focus the report. One thing that I do add is bounce rate, because bounce rate is a really nice quality metric, especially when you're paying attention to how your content is doing and how various traffic sources are performing. Bounce rate is usually a good indicator of quality traffic, because obviously the higher the bounce, the less relevant the traffic. And I'm saying the higher the bounce, but there's some industries, software, where 80%, 75% bounce rate is actually really good. Take that with a grain of salt. So I would add, if you're filtering any of this or modifying this, I would add bounce rate, and I would kill things total revenue that in this case is not applicable. You could have engaged sessions and an engaged session rate, that's fine. I time per session spent on a page. We see how long do people on average spend on the website coming from a traffic source. You can see which one has more engaged users. I usually hide these events, because these events, you'll see if you filter for some of these things, events sometimes don't really, things that Google considers an event is an event. 186, 250. So or 250, so I'm going to copy this. This will be provided to you. So just copy this entire thing, including the $sign. And what you're going to want to do here in the source medium is go to matches regex. That's short for regular expression. And you can see that it's, when I paste this in, it's going to be 208 characters out of a maximum of 250. So I'm going to apply this. And now when I apply this, it's going to say, okay, here's all the data, at least in this last 28 days. And I'm going to try to match for any one of these, right? And if there's data, it's going to add it here. So that's how you do it. Now you can click to save. So this is, I'm going to click on save and save as a new report. And I'm going to go LLM traffic data and just save that. Now, the way we handle SEO client reports, especially on clients where we have access, let me just refresh this. What we do is we create custom reports. Let me see. Come on, Google. Let me do what I want to do. There we go. Sometimes this sidebar goes away for me. What we do is we create this section. I believe there's a video on how to modify this sidebar within reports. And we can create custom collections, and we do create custom collections for our clients. So for example, we have, organic search reports for top landing pages and search engine distribution. And then we have some custom reports that I created for a client to just break that traffic sources down. So I created these collections manually. So what I would recommend and what we're doing for our clients is we're creating this LLM report, and you could add it to a collection. So for example, if I want to do LLM traffic data and I want to add it under, this custom reports, I can go to where we have our SEO reports, and I can modify this collection and just drag this in there. Now, there may be reasons why you would want to do this versus not want to do this, because clients that are always checking in on their data, like on a daily or weekly basis, they're going to have more questions than you'll have answers for. And you're just going to be you'll be answering questions like, why did we go down in traffic on ChatGPT yesterday, and so on and so forth, versus you being able to accurately speak and report on the data, right? So as it depends really on your client and which clients really is prone to checking things like LLMs and checking every single day, like, are we rank on ChatGPT and why not? And this will be your discretion really. But once you save that report, you'll just go into the library and it'll be saved in the library. And now you have a choice of adding it here, right, where everybody who has access to this account can view it, or it's there and you can go in and just monitor it, because you, being in the business of SEO, you're worrying about visibility and primarily focusing on search engines, right? LLMs will also index the content, and clients should also receive, depending on how they're ranking, LLM traffic. It just might not be immediate, right? So it's more of like, you understand that SEO takes time, whereas a client would be like, well, what are we doing for LLMs? What are we doing for AI search in addition, right? This is kind of the plus of doing SEO work, is also getting the LLM traffic. So my recommendation and what we're doing for our clients is we're creating a report like this to just monitor traffic, and then just reporting on it to say, hey, congrats, like, look, we have traffic coming in from ChatGPT as a bonus. We're positioning this as really like a bonus of saying, look, the SEO work is also, working in spades for LLMs. So we're keeping these reports as part of the library and not adding them to the sidebar of reports, but you're free to do so if you find that valuable and useful and as a value add to your client. So that's it. If you click on it, it'll just go directly to this report, and you'll have the ability to, you could modify things. So this pulls in, by default, it pulls in whatever your last filter was for date. So if you modify your date filter to be 90 days, it'll be 90 days worth of traffic. So that's it. Hope you guys find this video helpful. If there's any questions, shoot them over to Damon. Happy to answer them. Take care.